How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is AJ. Years back, I got my master's degree in economics, and what that means is people ask me a lot of questions about their money. Well, hopefully I can answer some of those today. One question I've been getting a lot, especially recently, is what should you do if the market crashes? Dun, dun, dun! You're going to be okay. There's definitely things you can do to make sure that, you know what, after the market crashes and all is said and done, you didn't lose anything. So what we're going to talk about today are the steps you can take to make sure you don't lose anything during a stock market crash. But first, make sure that you smash the like button. Make sure he turns blue, because we all like blue. Really, it just makes YouTube know that it should like this video to help other people watch this video so they can like it too. And make sure you're subscribed, because we all want to be subscribed, right? Now, really, what should you do if the stock market crashes? I mean, if I start losing 20, 30, 40, 50, 80, I lose all my money. I should sell, right? I should sell. No. The very first thing, the most important thing that you should not do ever, please do not panic and sell everything you have in the market invested. Do not sell off all your investments immediately if there's a crash. Panicking is generally the worst thing you can do in any situation. Forget a market crash. Anytime something happens in life, you should not panic. I'm sure you've heard this countless times. Same thing happens if the stock market crashes. Don't panic. You probably shouldn't look at the day-to-day numbers or something like that. Just understand it's going to be all okay. So don't panic and sell everything. Investments are always long-term. This is something I say all the time. When you invest in something, you need to remember that that investment is long-term. You shouldn't be investing short-term. If you invest short-term, you might as well go to a casino and try to make your money like that. That's a short-term investment. Investments should be long-term. You put your money in the markets, and the markets grow over the long term and give you a return on that investment. Historically, statistically, even with stock market crashes, even with stock market growth, the markets are going to average out to returning 7 to 9% per year. It's pretty good. And again, that's including the fact that markets crash from time to time. There's an old adage that many people say, time in the market will always beat timing the market. Can't really find anything more truthful than that. So if you're worried about the stock market going down tomorrow, or they're worried about the stock market going up tomorrow, don't be. Because you can't really time the market, at least consistently. Sure, some people, especially professionals, they can time it once in a while. They can get lucky. But consistently, there really haven't been many people to consistently time the market and actually be able to do that. So don't think that you'll be able to either. Time in the market beats timing the market. Now, remembering that, things need to be long-term. Don't panic. Don't sell everything you have. In all honesty, your investments will recover on their own. I know that's a hard thing to think about, because if your whole portfolio drops like 30%, I can understand wanting to freak out. But let's take a different look at this. Charles Schwab, and if you don't know who Charles Schwab is, you really need to learn who they are before you worry about any investing. Charles Schwab, a few years back, they did a study from the market over 20 years, from 1993 to 2012. During this 20-year period, there were 2 stock market crashes. 2, and they were fairly large. What they did is they created a few fictitious characters. One character well, I should say actually first, all characters were given $2,000 to invest every year. They were given $2,000 up front. One character perfectly timed the market. They only invested every year when the stock market was at its rock bottom prices so that they could make the most on their investments. Now at the end of 20 years, they had about $87,000. Good. And of course, they made more than anyone else. Nice investment. The second person, this is what's interesting. When they got $2,000 to invest, they invested it immediately. Got the money, invested it. Got the money, invested it. They didn't care if the stock market goes down tomorrow, if it goes up tomorrow. And of course, both things happened over those 20 years. But what happened? At the end, they had $81,000. Not that far off from the guy who was perfect. Now, a third person, they took the $2,000 and they split it up into equal monthly payments to invest. So every month they invested the same amount, equaling $2,000 in a year. They ended up with $79,000 at the end of 20 years. Pretty good. Now this is one you really need to focus on and really need to understand. The fourth person invested at the absolute worst time every year, when the markets were the highest. So imagine the worst time to invest is when this person invested every year. They made the worst decisions you could ever make. Opposite of perfection. They ended the 20-year period with $72,000. Now that's a far cry from the $87,000 of perfection, about 18% off, but considering that they were the opposite of perfection, not too bad. They were still up. They still went investing $2,000 every year to having 72 grand at the end of 20 years. Not so bad. But let's remember that second person. Got money, invested it. Got money, invested it. Got money, invested it. They didn't care about the stock market crashing or the stock market doing well. They ended at 81,000. That's only 6% off from perfection. Perfection is pretty much impossible. But what they showed here, what Charles Schwab showed, is if you just invest whenever you can, you get money, you want to invest, just invest. Don't worry about it. If you get the money, you can invest, invest. Invest immediately, always. Don't worry about if it's going to lose or if it's going to gain tomorrow. Worry about the long term, because time in the market is always going to be timing the market. Put that money in and invest it so that it sits there long term. Again, this test was over 20 years, and over 20 years, investing immediately was pretty darn close to perfection. So again, I want to review what we really talked about today. You know, if the stock market crashes tomorrow, what are you supposed to do? The crazy notion of do nothing. If the market crashes tomorrow, do nothing. If you want to invest money tomorrow, invest money tomorrow. Don't worry if the stock market's going to crash tomorrow. Invest what you have because you want to invest. And investing long term will pretty much always net you positive. You're always going to get a return on your investment if you're thinking long term. All right? If you really need to save money short term, save that money. Don't invest it if you really want to keep it safe. There are, again, savings accounts that can probably get 2% interest per year right now. If you're going to panic, do not panic sell everything. Keep your investments where they are. Don't do anything if the stock market falls. I know it sounds crazy, but it really is the best thing you can do. All right. Please remember, statistically and historically, over the long term, the market will always average 7 to 9% growth. That includes crashes and growing times in the market. So, let your investments recover by themselves over time. Your actual dollar amount of money will recover much faster than the actual market equalizing back to its growth that it was before. So don't worry about it. The best thing you can do is invest your money in the best types of investments that you can. Make sure your investments are safe. Make sure your investments are long-term so that you can see that return in the future. Now, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.